Good evening, and thank you so much for joining me for this WNCT Now Evening News Update. I'm Emily Severage, live in the WNCT Digital Studio. Today, the Biden administration officially surpassed its goal of injecting 100 million vaccine doses within his first 100 days in office. This comes more than a month before his actual target date. The nation is administering about 2.5 million shots per day. Now, President Biden says he's setting his sights on a new goal within his 100 days, administering 200 million doses. The White House says with the pace and supply of vaccines improving, now the nation is in a position to help supply neighbors like Canada and Mexico with millions of shots. 2.5 million doses of AstraZeneca's vaccine will go to Mexico and 1.5 will be sent to Canada. The president has moved to speed up deliveries of vaccines from Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, as well as expanding the number of places to get shots and people who can administer them. The Biden administration says at this pace, that 200 million vaccine goal looks well in reach. The CDC still has growing concerns over COVID-19 variants that started abroad and have made their way over to the United States and now into North Carolina. Right now, a Durham-based company is working on a technology that could kill these variants of the virus. Our sister station in Raleigh reports.
As millions of Americans wait to be vaccinated, people are still being infected with COVID-19. So methods to treat the illness remain vitally important.
Are we better than any of those other treatments? I'm not sure, but I believe that the only way we're going to get to pre-COVID society is with a treatment like ours in complement with the vaccine.
Emit Bio has developed a handheld device that's inserted into the mouth. It aims precise wavelengths of targeted light at a spot in the back of the throat known as the oropharynx. Clinical trials have shown a 99.9% reduction of SARS-CoV-2 and MERS-CoV-2 when exposed to the company's light technology. Newly released data shows the same results with the more contagious South African and UK strains of the virus, a relief to Executive Chairman Neil Hunter and his team.
It's one of those things where you know you're going to do it, but back in the back of your mind, you're like, boy, I hope we get there.
The Durham-based company is seeking emergency use authorization from the FDA. Your doctor would prescribe it, and you would get it at your local pharmacy. The take-home kit is turned on for 5 minutes, and later that same day, the treatment is repeated.
You know, to have something in your home that you can use 10 minutes a day that can take care of these things, I think that's a very powerful weapon in this war.
The CDC has revised its social distancing guidelines for schools. Announced today, students can now sit 3 feet apart in classroom settings, much closer than the previous 6 feet. The agency says 3 feet gives school districts greater flexibility to have more students for a prolonged period of time. Since younger children are less likely to get seriously ill from the coronavirus and don't seem to spread it as much as adults do, experts say they're confident that 3 feet is safe. The new guidelines also recommend removing plastic shields and other barriers between desks. However, in common areas like cafeterias and lobbies, 6 feet should try to be maintained if there is space. NASA is one step closer to sending the first woman and second man to the moon, and social media apps are back up and running after an outage today. That and more coming up after this short break.
Severe weather can make life difficult, especially here in the East. Dropping temperatures, school closings, freezing rain, ice and snow.
Gusty winds over 20 miles an hour.
A freezing fog advisory is in effect.
Chief Meteorologist Jerry Jackson and his team of weather experts keep you ahead of any storm.
And this rain shield continues to pump in.
Storm Team 9, keeping you safe in severe weather.
Thanks so much for joining me. If you're just tuning in, I'm Emily Severage, live in the WNCT Digital Studio, bringing you some evening updates. WNCT is bringing you live streamed updates every Monday through Friday at 1:30 p.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. to bring you the latest and up-to-date news before our nightly newscasts. Actor Armie Hammer is being accused of rape. The young woman spoke to our KTLA sister station in Los Angeles about the attack. They have more on this story.
On April 24th, 2017, Armie Hammer violently raped me for over 4 hours in Los Angeles, during which he repeatedly slapped my head against a wall, bruising my face.
Through tears, a 24-year-old woman who goes by the name Effie accused actor Armie Hammer of raping her 4 years ago.
He also committed other acts of violence against me, to which I did not consent. For example, he beat my feet with a crop, so they would hurt whatever step I took for the next week.
She claims the assault went on for 4 hours.
I tried to get away, but he wouldn't let me. I thought that he was going to kill me.
Hammer's attorney strongly denies the rape allegations and maintains all Hammer's sexual encounters have been completely consensual and discussed and agreed upon in advance, and says Effie's own correspondence with Hammer undermines and refutes her claims. He says Effie sent Hammer hundreds of sexual texts after the alleged rape, and released one he says is from this past July, where she describes what sex acts she wants to engage in with Hammer. Effie says she and Hammer dated on and off for 4 years after meeting in 2016 on Facebook when she was 20.
He abused me mentally, emotionally, and sexually.
Hammer's accuser is reportedly the same woman who released a series of disturbing DMs on an Instagram account called House of Effie in January. The unverified messages are allegedly from Hammer to ex-girlfriends, describing graphic sexual fetishes. The LAPD is now investigating Effie's rape allegations. Effie's attorney says she has turned over evidence to back up her claims to police.
There are photos of some of her visible injuries.
Instagram is back up after experiencing an outage across the globe earlier today. According to social media reports, Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp began having issues around 1:34 p.m. There were around 63,000 outages reported since then. Facebook says their services were restored shortly after 2:30 p.m. NASA is one step closer to launching its Artemis One mission. It will send the first woman and the second man to the moon and ultimately a mission to Mars. Stennis Space Center in Mississippi is conducting the final test of the space launch. It's called the Hot Fire Test. Our sister station in Mississippi reports.
All 4 engines firing for 8 minutes. The test simulating what will happen when the rocket launches in Florida.
That was epic! Amazing! Congratulations to all the NASA teams!
Retired rocket scientist Dana Dempsey traveled across the country to witness history.
Super excited about today, and actually came out all the way from California just for 8 minutes of hot fire testing.
His excitement echoed by scientists and experts who remain confident this test would pass. The SLS core stage is the largest stage to be built.
And this is the rocket that's built to take us to deep space. So the fact that we're going to take the first woman and the next man to the moon is just one step along the way, because we're going to use the same rocket for the next 25 years, and we're going to start those missions with people out to Mars.
For those out here, they say it's not just about watching the test, it's about feeling it. They say it's an experience like no other.
It should be around 2 million pounds of thrust coming from these engines, and so we should be able to feel that, to hear it, and just to envision what that will be like when we're hopefully sitting on the rocket one day.
And so this is a 4-engine cluster, and I'm just excited to hear the roar, feel it against my chest, see the steam cloud, and it's going to go in that direction, but I'm just so excited just to see all that.
NASA astronaut Jessica Meir is enthusiastic about the mission.
Things are tangible now, they're happening. We're testing the core stage today, and then we'll be hopefully soon ready for that first Artemis test flight.
Well, that is going to wrap up this WNCT Now Evening News Update. We have more news coming up for you tonight on our broadcast at 5, 6, 10, and 11. So be sure to check those out for all the latest news coming up. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend.